Part 7. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 61. This is what he means. In terms of appearance alone, Xia's Haijin may not be more beautiful than Baiwuxi, Zhong Tingyu, and Zhang Ziyu, but she has a unique temperament about her, as pure as white paper, like a firefly in the dark night. It attracted him deeply. Xia's Haijin was embarrassed and annoyed by Li Yuan's revelation of true feelings. She buried her head lower and did not dare to look at him head on. Now, even though she was so cute, she didn't know that Li Yuan was trying to trick her. Li Yuan said awkwardly, "Haijin, let's get down to business quickly." Yeah, Xia's Haijin still didn't want to say another word. Li Yuan didn't take it seriously either. How could it be so easy to open the heart of a girl who had low self-esteem, autistic, and was extremely strong? Li Yuan took Xia's Haijin directly to the electronics mall of the mall. He first looked at the mobile phones, and finally settled on a Nokia N95 orange mobile phone, which was more suitable for girls and was the same model as his mobile phone. Yeah, couple version. Boss, how do you sell this phone? The boss was a middle-aged man. When he saw Xia's Haijin following Li Yuan, he immediately understood that he was going to buy it for his girlfriend. Handsome guy, this phone is perfect for your girlfriend. It has 5 million pixels, and the price is only 6,399 yuan. Li Yuan secretly gave a thumbs up. Hey, you are really wise, you know what I like to hear. Xia's Haijin on the side heard that her boss thought she was Li Yuan's girlfriend. Her face was so red that she was bleeding from shame, her head was buried very low, she was helpless and clutched the corners of her clothes, not daring to say a word. Li Yuan did a simple calculation and found that this phone was 100 yuan cheaper than when he bought it. The price was quite reasonable. For electronic products such as mobile phones, the profit margin is not that big for retail stores, and the prices can be found on the official website. Li Yuan continued to ask, "Are there any discounts?" Seeing that Li Yuan really wanted to buy it, the boss smiled even more. "Handsome man, if you want it, make a friend and I can save another 100 yuan. This way I really won't make you any money." Li Yuan nodded, but didn't say much. "Wrap it up for me." "Okay, handsome guy." The boss didn't expect Li Yuan to be so cheerful, and his service attitude was even more kind. Xia's Haijin saw that Li Yuan had spent several thousand yuan in just a few minutes, and her beautiful eyes were full of shock. Before she could finish being shocked, Li Yuan spoke again. "Let me look at the laptops again. What brands are they on?" The boss was overjoyed when he heard this. There are even Xiang, Dell, and Fruit brands. "Handsome guy, which brand do you like?" Li Yuan glanced at Xia's Haijin subconsciously, wanting to ask her about her preferences, but he shut up obediently. Asking her was almost in vain. "Then let's take a look at Lian Xiang." A quarter of an hour later, Li Yuan took a fancy to a Y730, a gaming audio and video notebook that had just been launched in September this year. The configuration was pretty good and sufficient. "Is this laptop available in pink or light white? It's suitable for girls." "Handsome, of course, please wait a moment." "What about the price?" 8,499, please give me another discount." "Okay, I want it. Install all the commonly used software and systems. In addition, I will give you a wireless network card." "No problem." Half an hour later, Li Yuan already had a new laptop and mobile phone in his hands. Dear readers, please read it. Chapter 69, The Company's Benefits, Boss Li Yuan, please follow up. Xia's Haijin watched with blank eyes as Li Yuan took out a bank card and swiped more than 10,000 yuan on the POS machine. The confusion in his eyes became stronger. People seem to be really different. Especially Li Yuan and she are still classmates. The money Li Yuan spent in less than an hour was much more than her 4-year college living expenses combined. and even so, her monthly living expenses have to be earned through labor with her own hands. Hyjin, why are you stunned? Let's go. Li Yuan carried his laptop bag and mobile phone case and gently patted Xia's Hyjin's shoulder. This silly girl probably didn't realize that this was an electronic product I bought for her. When he asked Xia's Hyjin for her phone number and QQ number today, Li Yuan was already thinking about how to get her to accept his help. Now, with this reason, not only can I come to her often, but I can also help her. No matter how closed-minded a girl is, it will be difficult for her to resist under his various methods. Perfect, what a perfect idea. Xia's Hyjin replied blankly, oh. He's gone. Li Yuan did not take her directly back to school, but to the first floor of the mall. A computer and a mobile phone were obviously not enough. Hyjin, give me your ID card. Xia's Hyjin asked warily, why do you need my ID card? Li Yuan was speechless. My lovely silly girl, it's already too late to be wary now, you know? The moment you enter my sight, you no longer belong to me. Hyjin, be a good boy, give it to me, just listen. Oh, Xia's Hyjin seemed to realize what Li Yuan was about to do, and hesitantly took out a yellowed wallet from his skull bag. Li Yuan glanced at it and saw that the wallet was very dry, with only a red ticket and some change. Xia's Hyjin trembled as she handed her ID card to Li Yuan. Here, this is my ID card. Li Yuan took it with a smile. It was obvious that Xia's Hyjin's ID card was taken not long ago, and it was almost brand new. Xia's Hyjin in the ID card photo had a high ponytail, an ordinary red and white school uniform, and a middle part, revealing her entire face and a faint smile. Even if it was an ID photo, it couldn't hide her peerless beauty. Li Yuan stared at Xia's Hyjin, who kept her head down, and sighed in his heart. Perhaps, only when she took the ID card photo was she the most confident moment. She obviously had a beautiful face and looked so beautiful when she smiled, but she had to keep her head down often, burying her beautiful side. He could put himself in Xia's Hyjin's shoes and feel what kind of mood that was. Li Yuan's tone became more and more gentle, and he wanted to touch her hair with his hands, but he was afraid that she would cry again. Hyjin, come with me, I need your help with something. Xia's Hyjin just nodded gently. The two came to a mobile company's business hall on the first floor of the mall, and Li Yuan directly handed over Xia's Hyjin's ID card. Please help me get a phone card. The salesperson was a very young woman. She took Xia's Hyjin's ID card and looked at the ID photo on it. She was obviously amazed. She stared at it for dozens of seconds. After Li Yuan's reminder, she reacted and said to Li Yuan in an envious tone. Handsome guy, your girlfriend is so beautiful. She is the most beautiful one I have ever seen in my life. Li Yuan did not refute, and his face showed an expression of approval. Glancing at Xia's Hyjin from the corner of his eye, he saw that her face was red enough to drip blood. That shy and immature expression would make even the strongest Fahe, who always talked about Dai Tianlong and Deluo Fazuo, here be tempted. What can really attract an old pervert like Li Yuan is not a charming and sexy mature woman like Wang Zhirong, because she has experienced it and is immune to it. Instead, it is an absolutely pure and immature treasure girl like Xia's Hyjin. Just like the ancestor of scumbags said, the predecessor of every scumbag sea king was once a warrior who charged for love, but he fell into depravity after his heart was sealed with cement. He was no exception. Handsome guy, beautiful girl, what kind of package are you going to order? There are 38, 58, 88. Here is the detailed introduction of each package. Li Yuan took it and made a decision with just a glance. Let's take the 88 package. After a while, Xia's Hyjin's first phone card in her life was processed. Li Yuan took the newly bought mobile phone, put the mobile phone card in it, and dialed his own number. Hyjin, let me teach you how to use it. Xia's Haijin already understood at this time that this expensive mobile phone worth 6 or 7,000 was bought by Li Yuan for her. She was so scared that she waved her hands quickly. Li Yuan, I don't want it. Li Yuan had expected Xia's Haijin's reaction in his heart, and asked with a smile, why not? If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 62. This mobile phone is too valuable, I can't accept it. Xia's Haijin hesitated, she was really shocked today. Even though she knew that Li Yuan seemed to have bad intentions when he approached her, she couldn't accept this method. If she wants this, she only needs to give up her dignity, give up her self-love, and actively become a slave to money, and then everything will be at her fingertips. But is she still her original self? No, it's just a zombie. Xia's Haijin's rejection gaze was firm, which made Li Yuan tremble slightly. He took a deep breath and regained his composure. Haijin, I am your boss, you should listen to me. Think about it, if I have anything to do with you in the future, how would I contact you if I don't have a mobile phone? If I want you to help me write some work plans, speeches, etc., wouldn't it be very inconvenient if I don't have a laptop? I bought these for you to facilitate your work. Besides, when did I say I gave these mobile phones and laptops to you? They are just for your use temporarily. This is an employee benefit for our company. So, classmates Haijin, you can use it with peace of mind and work better for me in the future. I am a black-hearted capitalist who eats people without spitting out their bones. Xia's Haijin's little head was fooled by Li Yuan's words. Li Yuan said it perfectly, without any clue. If you want a horse to run, don't give it grass to eat. He is not really one of those black-hearted capitalists who say 996 is a blessing. Xia's Haijin felt that her brain had shut down, and she lowered her head while hesitating to speak. Li Yuan, but, I still can't have it. Li Yuan pretended to be serious. Haijin, this is work. If you want to reject me, you must give me a reasonable reason. Xia's Haijin was frightened by Li Yuan's tone and trembled. She was a little at a loss and lowered her head. I'm afraid, I lost it. Li Yuan suppressed the news at the corner of his mouth and boldly reached out and touched Xia's Haijin's smooth and beautiful black hair. Feeling her body trembling again, Li Yuan quietly retracted his hands and said calmly, it doesn't matter if you lose it. Just buy a new one and the company will reimburse you. But Xia's Haijin still wanted to explain, but was directly interrupted by Li Yuan. No, but, I bought everything, I can't throw it away, right? If you are told to accept it, you will accept it and be obedient. Next, we have to do business. You don't want to be unable to go back to the dormitory at night, right? Okay then. Xia's Haijin was finally convinced by Li Yuan. After convincing Xia's Haijin, Li Yuan started his life plan again. Li Yuan took Xia's Haijin into a KFC, ordered some food, plugged the laptop into the network card, and placed it on the table. Looking up, Xia's Haijin was sitting across from him in a reserved manner. Li Yuan said without blushing and without a beating heart. Haijin, you are sitting in the wrong place. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan in confusion and asked in a low voice, where should I sit? Li Yuan pulled the stool next to him, sit here. Xia's Haijin's face turned red again, as if she was frozen in her seat, with her head lowered, not daring to look at Li Yuan. Haijin, be good and obedient. Sit next to me and I will teach you how to use the computer. Please read it. Chapter 70 Remarks on the launch. According to the editor's notice, it will be put on the shelves at 12 noon today. Before I put it on the shelves, let me first talk about my feelings about writing this book. As a loser in real life, being reborn again is something that everyone fantasizes about when dreaming, and I, a young author, am no exception. There are too many regrets in life, such as white moonlight and cinnabar moles. Sometimes we miss them, but they are missed. We can only bury them in our hearts and continue to live happily towards life. There is a poem that says very well, if life is just like the first time we met, why would the autumn wind be so sad as to draw a fan? Sometimes, missing out is more painful than waiting. Not much to say, it will be on the shelves at noon. I hope that all of you readers who like this book can subscribe and become the author's daily bread and butter. Let's talk about the update rules. After it is put on the shelves, we will insist on 7,000 plus updates every day. If there are rewards, the leader will add 5 more updates. I hope all readers will support this book. The price of a bottle of mineral water can satisfy the little author's food and clothing. Xiahua, I would like to kowtow to you readers. Chapter 71 Xia's Hyjin's first time, first update, please order first. Xia's Hyjin lowered her head shyly. What Li Yuan said made sense. If she wanted to learn computers, she had to sit together, but she was a little scared. Seeing Xia's Hyjin's hesitant expression, Li Yuan added another element of anger, Hyjin, I am the boss and you are the employee. This is all for the convenience of work. Do you understand? Xia's Hyjin then stood up, walked to the stool next to Li Yuan and sat down, deliberately turning her body sideways outward, as if she were sitting on a pincushion. Li Yuan could even feel her body trembling. Obviously, Xia's Hyjin, who was in close contact with him, was very nervous and scared. Li Yuan had a helpless expression on his face. Classmate Xia's Hyjin, am I that terrible? No, it's not scary, Xia's Hyjin explained quickly, then moved towards Li Yuan with a blushing face. Li Yuan moved his body quietly and pressed directly against Xia's Hyjin. Xia's Hyjin's body was like being electrocuted, and she straightened up all of a sudden. Even her breathing became much weaker. Li Yuan felt that he could hear her heartbeat. Li Yuan stretched out his right hand, went around Xia's Hyjin's back, and directly grabbed her soft little hand. Xia's Hyjin was confused. She didn't expect Li Yuan to be so bold. She wanted to pull her hand out, but was grabbed by Li Yuan's big hand. Xia's Hyjin turned her head, and a layer of mist covered her clear and beautiful eyes, as if she was questioning Li Yuan. Li Yuan felt a little guilty, but pretended to be serious. Hyjin, pay attention, I'm teaching you how to use the computer. Oh, Xia's Hyjin said lightly, and the blush on her cheeks became more intense. Li Yuan smiled proudly in his heart. Since ancient times, deep affection cannot be retained, only routines can win people's hearts. To deal with a girl like Xia's Hyjin, you must try every possible way to create physical contact between the two of you. Only after a long time, you can use your warm and powerful body to break through her closed membrane and enter her soft heart. Hyjin, this is the computer mouse, which is also the computer controller. You can move this light spot on the computer desktop by moving the mouse. This is the computer's power button. You can turn it on and off manually, or you can choose to shut it down from here. This is Sogu Pinyin input method, which can be used to input text. This is a Word document, where you can write speeches, report materials, etc. Li Yuan held Xia's Hyjin's soft little hand and taught her little by little how to understand computers, how to turn it on and off, how to open Word documents, input text, make tables, etc. Xia's Hyjin is indeed a top student who can be admitted to a 985 university by her own strength. Compared with him who got admitted by chance, her comprehensive learning ability is even higher. She can learn quickly. As long as Li Yuan teaches her once, she can basically remember it. Li Yuan is almost hugging Xia's Hyjin. After more than an hour of hand-in-hand teaching, her body gradually softened. Hyjin, do you understand what I taught you? Well, I probably understand it all. Xia's Hyjin's cheeks are still flushed. She feels like she is curled up in Li Yuan's warm and strong arms. Such close contact makes her face hot as if she has a fever. Because they are in a KFC store, customers pass by them from time to time, and they will cast a glance at them, making her even more shy. Li Yuan smelled the fragrance of Xia's Haijin and asked, "Haijin, you don't have a QQ account yet?" "Yes." "Then I'll apply for one for you now." "Yes, thank you." Li Yuan opened QQ and followed the relevant steps to help Xia's Haijin apply for a QQ account. "What online name do you like?" Xia's Haijin asked cutely, "What is an online name?" Li Yuan smiled and explained, "It's the name you imagine, like the pen name when writing letters in the past. Those literati would give themselves a nice name. Like Qinglian Jushi, Yian Jushi, etc. My online name is called Live Like a Summer Flower. Live like a summer flower, live like the splendor of a summer flower, die like the tranquility of an autumn leaf, a very nice name," Xia's Haijin murmured shyly. "You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie." Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 63. Li Yuan laughed, "Jin, we are really in sync. I chose this name because of this sentence. What kind of online name do you plan to choose?" Let me think about it." Xia's Haijin's eyes suddenly brightened, and she operated the keyboard and typed a name. Li Yuan came closer and his mouth was almost on Xia's Haijin's cheek. Smelling the virgin fragrance on her body, Li Yuan's heart trembled slightly, and he felt that Xia's Haijin's soft little hands had already sweated a little. On the laptop, there were 4 words written, "One leaf knows Xia." "Jin, one leaf knows Xia, what does this online name mean?" Xia's Haijin shyly glanced at Li Yuan without answering. There seemed to be a different emotion in her clear eyes. Li Yuan seemed to understand what Xia's Haijin meant from her eyes. His last name is Li, Musa Li, which can refer to trees, and yet can also represent trees. Her name is Xia's Haijin, and Jin can represent both wood and flowers, and the most common one is the hibiscus flower. Thinking back to the meaningful look in Xia's Haijin's eyes, Li Yuan raised an arc at the corner of his mouth and murmured softly, "Yi Ji Xia, a good name, let's use this." Xia's Haijin nodded shyly. Li Yuan then taught Xia's Haijin how to use QQ, QQ mailbox, space, album, etc. Haijin, add my QQ, this is my QQ number, 149,943. Xia's Haijin is very smart. She learned all the functions of QQ just by learning it once. Suddenly, Li Yuan's mobile phone vibrated. When he opened the phone, there was a new QQ verification message on it. "Yi Ji Xia requests to add you as a friend." Li Yuan clicked to accept and typed the first sentence, "Hello, Jin classmate." Xia Jin felt very novel, her face was bright and juicy, and she also replied, "Nice to meet you." Li Yuan continued to reply, "You look good when you smile, you should smile more in the future." Xia Jin replied with one word, "Yes." "In the future, you can send me messages on QQ or call me directly." "Yes, okay." "Take the initiative to contact me, okay?" "Yes, I know." Even though they were sitting close together, the two of them chatted on QQ, which gave them a unique sense of novelty. After a while, Xia Jin asked shyly, "Li Yuan, is there anything else you want to learn?" Li Yuan wanted to make up a few more reasons, but he couldn't think of them for a while, so he could only answer, "No, I won't teach you when I remember." Xia Jin moved her little hand, then can you let go of my hand?" Li Yuan realized that he had been holding her hand and teaching her step by step. Looking at the girl curled up in his arms, Li Yuan reluctantly let go of his arms. He thought to himself, if Xia's Haijin could learn slower, he could teach her step by step. She couldn't eat hot tofu in her heart. With this relationship between boss and secretary, How could she be afraid of not having a chance in the future? After escaping from Li Yuan's clutches, Xia's Haijin breathed a sigh of relief, and her stiff body regained its vitality. She looked at Li Yuan shyly. Li Yuan, can we go back to school? Li Yuan looked at the time, and before he knew it, it was already past 4 in the afternoon. I didn't feel like I was doing anything, so how could time pass so quickly? Sure enough, when you are with someone you like, you want to stop every second. It's only past 4 o'clock, it's still early, we'll go back later. Well, then, what else do we have to do? Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan, feeling uneasy in her heart, and lowered her head shyly. Li Yuan stretched out his salty hand and knocked her head. Why, do you feel tortured with me? Xia's Haijin answered blankly, no, it's not. Li Yuan smiled and enjoyed the feeling of bullying this treasure girl. That's fine, accompany me to the mall. Yes, Xia's Haijin responded and followed Li Yuan blankly. Longjia building is very large and is a comprehensive mall. The two of them strolled around. Li Yuan was in front and Xia's Haijin was one step behind. She didn't dare to get close to him for fear that Li Yuan would make another surprise attack. As Li Yuan walked, he found many familiar places, such as coffee shops, hot pot restaurants, snack bars, adventure houses, ocean balls. The same scenery, with different people, at different times, will have completely different experiences and perceptions. In his previous life, Li Yuan also accompanied by Wixi to visit this mall many times. At that time, he first arrived in the big city of Magic City and was in the midst of fireworks and prosperity. Only then did he realize his own insignificance and insignificance. Especially the prosperity and high consumption of Magic City made it impossible for him to pretend to be a rich second generation. He could only suck blood from his parents more and more. He saved money and secretly worked part-time to maintain his ridiculous face. He almost sold a kidney and replaced it with a kidney machine. When all these false bubbles were punctured, the consequences were imaginable. It seemed that from then on, Bai Wixi's attitude towards him had changed dramatically without realizing it. Sometimes thinking about it, I was really pathetic and pitiful in my previous life. The old memories came to my mind, and Li Yuan suddenly felt a pain in his heart, frowned, and no longer had the interest to continue strolling. Looking at Xia's Haijin who was shyly following him with his head lowered, Li Yuan suddenly felt that he was very shameless. He was clearly planning to be a scumbag, a sea king, embrace the world, and give every beautiful girl a home. But why bother with such a pure treasured girl? Although, he didn't know what kind of life experience Xia's Haijin had in his previous life, whether it was good or bad, happy or unfortunate. But was it really right for him to suddenly forcefully break into her peaceful life? Haijin, do you hate me very much? The first update is on the shelves, please subscribe and support it. In addition, I recommend another book. Chapter 72's Haijin, this is all for work, second update, please order first. Xia's Haijin was walking around shyly with Li Yuan when she suddenly heard Li Yuan's meaningful question. She felt panicked and didn't know how to speak. Does she really hate Li Yuan? It doesn't count. After all, Li Yuan is not ugly. Instead, he is tall, handsome, and stylish. Although he is domineering at times, he is also gentle at other times. In order to help himself, he changed his ways to do these things and take care of his own self-esteem. That is, it would be better if you could be gentler and not use any hands or feet. Li Yuan saw the hesitation in Xia's Haijin's eyes, as well as the complicated feelings towards him. Li Yuan smiled wryly at himself, if you hate me, you are right. After all, I am the one who forced my way into your peaceful life. Xia's Haijin saw that Li Yuan seemed to be in a bad mood, and quickly explained, Li Yuan, I don't blame you, thank you. Thank me for what? Li Yuan asked expressionlessly. Xia's Haijin stared directly at Li Yuan for the first time. It seemed that she had used up all her courage and said shyly. "Thank you for being nice to me. You are a good person, different from others." Li Yuan, who was once again given the good guy card by Xia's Haijin, grinned. "Am I a good person? Not to mention, I'm really kind at heart." Classmates Haijin, you really have a pair of eyes that are good at discovering beauty. You discovered my little advantage. Xia's Haijin chuckled. Between her bright eyes and white teeth, there was endless brilliance. Even the early sun and the bright moon could not compare with it. She just smiled, just like the blazing sun melting snow, dissipating all the resentment accumulated in Li Yuan's heart. Li Yuan is no longer emo. The past is the past after all, whether it is the past life or the present. He needs to let go of everything, travel lightly, and embrace life instead of living in resentment and dissatisfaction and deliberately seeking revenge. With such a treasure girl who is radiating light all over her body in front of her, next to her, what can the so-called haze do? Haijin, thank you for letting me understand this truth. Next, Li Yuan took Xia's Haijin and visited almost the entire shopping mall. Although he didn't buy much, Li Yuan was extremely happy. He just suffered a lot for Xia's Haijin, a simple treasure girl. Haijin, this bag is not bad. It suits your style very well. You are not allowed to have it. You are the face of our company, the face of the company, and represent the image of our company. This dress is not bad. It will look good on you. It suits you very well. Just think of it as your work clothes. Hey, there is a cosmetic store here. Let's go and take a look. The Skii fairy water said, I feel like it's not even worthy of your appearance. You said you don't need it? That won't work. This is also a benefit of the company, benefits only available to female employees. There is a boutique here, let's go in and take a look. In Xia's Haijin's frightened eyes, Li Yuan also reflected the taste of a rich second generation. Anyway, he just bought what he liked, and didn't care about money at all. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 64. The main theme is to spend money arbitrarily. This feeling, in my past and present lives, is the first time I have experienced it. Sure enough, spending money feels better than making money. Xia's Haijin is a natural clothes hanger. After a little dressing up, she exudes a dazzling and charming light. She is more in line with Li Yuan's ideal type than any star he has ever seen. Looking at Xia's Haijin, who seemed to be a different person after trying on clothes, Li Yuan said to himself, Xia's Haijin, you stay by my side in this life. I won't let anyone take you away from me. I promise. When it was 6 or 7 in the evening, Li Yuan and Xia's Haijin were already carrying a lot of things in their hands. Xia's Haijin was numb and asked blankly, Li Yuan, how much does this cost? Li Yuan smiled, not much, less than 10,000. Hee, by the way, all the money spent today will be deducted from your salary. Xia's Haijin was stunned and lowered her head in a bit of a panic. She hasn't even started working yet, and if she adds the phone and computer, she already owes tens of thousands. How long will it take to pay it off? Xia's Haijin said nervously, can I not have these things? Li Yuan said with a stern face, no, I have already bought them and cannot return them. Xia's Haijin's tangled face was even more worried. Then, when will I officially start working? Li Yuan wanted to play a joke on Xia's Haijin and tease her nerves, but seeing that she did not refute, he became curious. Students Haijin, why don't you refute? Or, these things are all bought by me, why should your salary be deducted? Xia's Haijin answered shyly, because, these are all bought for me, my salary should be deducted. Li Yuan laughed, Haijin, you are so cute. Why don't you ask me how much I pay you? I, I believe you. Xia's Haijin's eyes were clear and sincere. After hesitating for a moment, she whispered again, Li Yuan, when are we going back? Li Yuan looked at the time and it was already 7 o'clock in the evening. He said, I'm hungry. Let's wait until we finish eating before going back to school. Xia's Haijin trembled and her voice became weaker. Oh, okay. Li Yuan was puzzled. Are you a little scared? Yeah. He asked again in confusion, what are you afraid of? Xia's Haijin said cutely, too late. Li Yuan raised his eyebrows and said in surprise, classmates Haijin, it's only 7 o'clock in the evening. Xia's Haijin replied weakly, I want to go back early. Li Yuan was about to say that the nightlife in the Magic City has just begun, but he knew that too much is as bad as too little. His behavior today has been an abnormal storm for this simple and inferior girl. Okay, let's just eat something casually. Do you like steak? Xia's Haijin shook her head quickly, no, I don't. What about seafood? Xia's Haijin continued to shake her head. You are from Shancheng, so you must like hot pot. There is a good hot pot restaurant in this mall, authentic Shancheng hot pot. Do you want to try it? Xia's Haijin hesitated and shook her head, I don't want to eat hot pot. Li Yuan asked, what do you want to eat? Xia's Haijin lowered her head, I want to eat steamed buns and hot sauce, or Shancheng noodles, that's good. Seeing her expression, Li Yuan could roughly imagine her previous life. But he was a little surprised. Do girls from Sichuan and Chongqing have such good skin? They eat chili peppers every day and don't get acne. In addition, Xia's Haijin's personality is completely different from the personality of girls from Sichuan and Chongqing he had heard of before. It is often said on the internet that the catchphrase of Sichuan and Chongqing girls is, Lao zi I shu dao shan. In my previous life, there were 2 college classmates from Sichuan and Chongqing. Their personalities were really like hot peppers, showing the style of Sichuan and Chongqing girls. People with personalities like Xia's Haijin are relatively rare, which may be related to her life experience. Then let's go eat noodles. There is a very authentic Shancheng noodles in this mall, which tastes very spicy. Xia's Haijin quietly raised her head and looked at Li Yuan with a softer look. After eating Shancheng noodles, Li Yuan looked at the time. It was just 8 o'clock in the evening. He wanted to stay with Xia's Haijin for a while, so he asked. Haijin, there is a movie theater in Longjia building. A European and American blockbuster with good reputation has just been released. Do you want to go and see it together? Hearing that Li Yuan was going to take her to see a movie, Xia's Haijin's body trembled suddenly. She was no longer timid and shy. She raised her head and looked at Li Yuan firmly. Li Yuan, it's late. I want to go back to school. Li Yuan opened his mouth, but didn't say anything else. He smiled and said, okay, let's go and see it another day. Yes, Xia's Haijin hummed lightly. The sentence just now seemed to have exhausted all her courage. When the 2 took a taxi back to school, it was already past 8 o'clock in the evening. This time node is the time when the school has the most people at night. Xia's Haijin kept her head down shyly the whole time, and kept a distance of more than 1 meter from Li Yuan. When she arrived at the door of the girls' dormitory, she mustered up the courage to speak, Li Yuan, I will carry it up myself. Li Yuan couldn't help but tease, student's Haijin, but you only have 2 hands. Xia's Haijin's face was red as if it was dripping with blood, and the students passing by would occasionally cast a stare at her. I can make a few more trips. Li Yuan asked again, that's too troublesome, I'll help you carry it up. Xia's Haijin hesitated, but, boys are not allowed to enter the girls' dormitory. Li Yuan smiled, snapped his fingers, and raised the milk tea in his hand, don't worry, look at me. The 2 came to the door of the girls' dormitory. As expected, Li Yuan was stopped by the sharp-eyed dormitory aunt. Li Yuan took the milk tea and approached the dormitory aunt. "Sister, please have a cup of milk tea. Can I help my girlfriend to send these things up? She can't move them alone." The dormitory aunt was only in her 40s. When she heard Li Yuan, a handsome and tall guy, call her sister, she was already very happy in her heart, but she still refused with an iron face on the surface. "Young man, our school has regulations. Boys are not allowed to enter the girls' dormitory, no matter how close you try." Li Yuan didn't believe in this rule. He had seen boys enter the girls' dormitory more than once in his previous life. As long as the relationship is in place, not to mention entering the girls' dormitory, it is not uncommon to stay overnight in the girls' dormitory. As long as you are brave enough, the head teacher can take maternity leave. "Sister, I only need 10 minutes to help her send her things up and come down immediately. My girlfriend is a freshman, she has just arrived and can't contact her roommates. Sister, please help me and make some adjustments." The dormitory auntie was a little relieved when she heard Li Yuan calling her sister. 10 minutes should not be enough to do anything. This handsome guy looks strong, it is impossible to be that fast. Li Yuan quickly handed over the milk tea he had prepared in advance. "Sister, please have some milk tea. Please be flexible. I promise to bring it down immediately." The dormitory aunt took the milk tea and pretended to be impartial. "Then it will be 10 minutes. Don't exceed the time limit, otherwise I will interrupt you. Go in quickly." Chapter 73 Li Yuan, open the door and check the dormitory, the third update. Please subscribe. Getting the affirmation of the dormitory aunt, Li Yuan felt relieved. In the shy and surprised expression of Xia's Haijin, he blinked at her, meaning, "Look at me, am I awesome?" Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan shyly, and then quickly lowered her head. Li Yuan carried a computer, clothes, and some snacks he bought, ready to feed Xia's Haijin and her roommates. He put his head close to Xia's Haijin and whispered, "Haijin, when you get to the dormitory, do you know what to say?" Yes. Xia's Haijin quickly turned her head away, fearing that Li Yuan would make another surprise attack. When the two came back, Xia's Haijin asked Li Yuan how to explain to his roommates. Li Yuan thought that he would not lose a hair no matter what they said, but then he thought of Xia's Haijin's situation. This is a girl who is both inferior and strong, and extremely sensitive. He gave her an idea and thought of a good excuse. Xia's Haijin's dormitory is on the 6th floor. There is no elevator at this time. You have to climb the stairs to go up and down, which is very hard. When the two were climbing the stairs, two girls suddenly came towards them. Before Li Yuan opened his mouth, he heard the other party take the initiative to ask, "Hey, classmate Li Yuan, what a coincidence. How can you get into the girls' dormitory?" Li Yuan looked up and saw that the face was familiar. His brain quickly turned. Fortunately, after his rebirth, he had a super memory and remembered who the two girls were. He smiled and said, "Hello, Fangyani and Jodan." Fangyani was the classmate who sat with the big and narcissistic girl Wang Zhirong. She looked at Li Yuan and Xia's Haijin, who was shyly lowering her head and looking a little helpless beside Li Yuan, in surprise. As one of the two female protagonists in the class meeting of the freshmen of Computer Class 1 today, Xia's Haijin, who was originally ordinary, was also known by the whole class because of Li Yuan's behavior. This is a girl who stole the limelight from the two class beauties Xiang Yangqiu and Wang Zhirong. Because of Li Yuan, other students were very curious about Xia's Haijin, but they did not realize how beautiful Xia's Haijin was. They just thought she was an ordinary girl. Fangyani looked at the things that Li Yuan and Xia's Haijin were carrying and asked in surprise, "Are you going to the mall to buy things with all these big and small bags?" If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 65. Xia's Haijin lowered her head shyly and did not dare to speak. Li Yuan was indifferent. Well, I just bought something. Wow, Li Yuan, is that your newly bought Lianxiang laptop in your hand? It was Zhou Dan who spoke, her eyes focused on Li Yuan, and she asked in surprise. There was nothing to hide, and he neither stole nor robbed, so he calmly replied, "This is not mine, it belongs to classmates Haijin." Did classmates Haijin buy it? Fang Yani looked suspicious. Her eyes turned back and forth between Li Yuan and Xiao's Haijin, and she was very confused. Could it be that Li Yuan had already captured Xiao's Haijin in just half a day? This speed is too fast. She couldn't help but take a closer look at Xiao's Haijin. Her height matched Li Yuan's, and her old school uniform couldn't hide her enviable figure. Under the lights in the dormitory corridor, her crimson cheeks and neck added to the beauty. Color. However, Xiao's Haijin still lowered her head, and her side-parted bangs hid her beautiful face under the dim light in the dormitory corridor. This Xiao's Haijin has something. If Zhurong finds out, he won't be so angry. Fang Yani suddenly felt funny when she thought about her roommate Wang Zhurong's words at the time that she would give Li Yuan a chance to pursue her. Her eyes took another serious look at the things Li Yuan and Xiao's Haijin were carrying, and she secretly exclaimed. These things, laptops, clothes, snacks, and maybe SK2 cosmetics boxes, my god, it all costs a lot of money. Did Li Yuan buy them all for Xiao's Haijin? Li Yuan is too generous, right? Has their relationship really reached that point? Xiao's Haijin's character doesn't even look like her. At this moment, Fang Yani and Zhou Dan suddenly had a flood of thoughts in their minds. Their jaws dropped and they were filled with curiosity and envy at the same time. They also want these things in their hearts. Most of them who have just entered college do not have laptops. Li Yuan smiled, 2 classmates, Haijin and I went up first, and the dormitory aunt gave me 10 minutes. If I don't hurry up, I'm afraid she will come to the dormitory with a loudspeaker to arrest me. Fang Yani's flames of gossip had just ignited, and she wanted to continue asking, but she was mercilessly snuffed out by Li Yuan. Okay then, bye. After Li Yuan and Xiao's Haijin disappeared from sight, Fang Yani turned to look at her roommate and asked, Dandan, tell me, what is the relationship between Li Yuan and Xiao's Haijin? Zhou Dan curled his lips in envy. Yani, are you stupid? Needless to say, there must be a relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend. Li Yuan made it so obvious in the class meeting this morning. Fang Yani nodded, she thought so, but wasn't the speed a bit too fast? Then tell me, did Li Yuan buy all these things for Xiao's Haijin? Zhou Dan, probably so. I heard people say that Li Yuan is a second-generation rich man. His family is very rich, and the laptops and mobile phones he uses are all the latest models. However, I didn't expect that he could make such a big deal. I even bought a laptop and mobile phone for Xiao's Haijin. Fang Yani said, not necessarily, isn't it possible that Xiao's Haijin bought it herself? Zhou Dan chuckled, do you think it's possible? I don't know what Li Yuan likes about Xiao's Haijin. Apart from her height, there is nothing outstanding about her. She really envied Xiao's Haijin in her heart. If Li Yuan Chang was not good looking, she might be more balanced in her heart. But Li Yuan needs to be tall and good looking, he can also play basketball, he has a strong body, and his family is rich, all of which are plus points in the eyes of girls. Fang Yani said with envy, Xiao's Haijin is so happy, she is so quick to act, and Li Yuan is so kind to her. This is the first time for Li Yuan to come to Xia University's female dormitory. Although he often came to Xia University in his previous life, he had never been to Baiwaxi's dormitory. Regarding the girls' dormitory, Li Yuan remembered a joke he heard in his previous life, saying that there were 6 people in the girls' dormitory, and there were 42 groups. It can be imagined that this was a huge event. Necessarily, full of stories. 3 women have one play, and 6 women can star in a TV series. Li Yuan passed from dormitory to dormitory, and occasionally glanced at the open dormitory with the corner of his eyes, looking at the special scenery of some of them which were very long, white and large. He looked at Xia's Haijin without blushing and his heart not beating. Haijin, which dormitory is yours? Xia's Haijin's face was still blushing. When the two entered the campus, she kept her head down and did not dare to look up. I'm in dormitory 6608, right in front. Li Yuan came to the door of dormitory 6608, put his laptop on the ground, and knocked on the door with a deep voice. Open the door, classmate, and come to check your bed. A voice came from the dormitory, it's only around 8 o'clock. I'm going to check your bed. Are you sick? The voice sounds like a boy. Boys check the girls' dormitory, and girls check the boys' dormitory. This is the traditional custom in our school. It's so annoying to break the rules. Whenever a boy comes, I have to clean it up. Fortunately, I haven't removed the daily disposables I brought today. You can also go without makeup. Wait a moment, it'll be fine soon. Li Yuan listened clearly outside the door and smiled. This custom seemed to be common in all universities. Seeing that her roommates had not opened the door, Xia's Haijin whispered, "Let me open the door." She took out a key with a peace charm from the old wallet and stepped forward to open the door. Shenzhou was about to open the door when she ran into Xia's Haijin, who was pushing the door open. She asked curiously, "Hey, Haijin, why are you here?" "I just heard a boy's voice saying that he was going to check the dormitories. By the way, Haijin, where have you been for so long? Why are you back so late?" Another girl was relieved to see that it was Xia's Haijin who came back. She asked casually, "Hey, Haijin, where is the handsome guy in our class? I heard from Zio that he stayed in the classroom waiting for you after school in the morning." "Hey, Haijin, what did you buy?" "SK2 cosmetics. And a lot of clothes, all branded goods." "Haijin, did you win the lottery?" Xia's Haijin listened to the chattering of her roommates and her face became more and more shy. She glanced outside the door, hesitant to speak, not knowing how to introduce herself. Shenzhou was more careful and noticed Xia's Haijin's expression. She thought of the familiar boy's voice she had just heard. She stuck her head out and looked outside the door. Li Yuan also stood in front of the door at the same time. His heartbeat began to accelerate, looking at Shenzhou and other girls, showing a hearty smile. "Hello, ladies." Shenzhou widened her eyes and looked at Li Yuan, as if Columbus had discovered the new world. Her mouth opened into an O shape, an egg could be stuffed in, and her expression was very exaggerated. "Li Yuan, it's you, Yuan Zijin." Readers, please subscribe. There are 2 more updates today. Chapter 74, the topic center of the girls' dormitory, 4th update, please subscribe. Ziu, who is the boy outside? Why does he sound familiar? Why is it you, classmate Li Yuan? The other girls in the A-6608 dormitory also came out to watch curiously. When they saw Li Yuan standing at the door of the dormitory, their expressions were extremely shocked. They stared with their eyes and looked at Li Yuan from head to toe. Especially when they saw the laptop and a large bag of snacks at Li Yuan's feet, they asked questions non-stop. "Li Yuan, are you and Zijin already together? Are all these bought for her? Wow, a laptop from Lianxiang, or a Y730 model, this must be nearly 10,000 yuan. There are also a lot of snacks, are you feeding Zijin with love? Li Yuan, you are so warm. Tell me the truth, how did you trick Zijin into getting her? You got it cheap." Faced with the bombardment of Xia Zijin's roommates, Li Yuan has become calm and composed, looking at Shenzhou and other girls, and said calmly, "Ladies, don't you want to invite me in to sit down?" Shenzhou came back to her senses and looked at the dormitory. Fortunately, it was quite neat, so she immediately invited him. "Li Yuan, come in and tell me about you and Zijin. Li Lanrong also covered her mouth and laughed, yes, we were just discussing where Zijin went. We haven't seen her for a long time. It turns out that she went shopping with handsome Li. Shenziu joked, Li Yuan, I'm curious, how did you discover Zijin's beauty? This should be the first time you saw her. There are so many boys in the class, but you discovered her first, and you took the initiative so early. It's only the first day of school. Xia Zijin, who was standing aside, was shy, blushing, and looked at a loss. Ziu, wrong, stop talking. Things are not what you think. Shenziu took Xia's Haijin's hand, winked, and teased, Haijin, what do you think it is like? Xia's Haijin subconsciously glanced at Li Yuan, and stammered, he, and I are. Li Yuan carried the things into the house, looked at Shenziu, Li Lanrong and other girls, and said frankly. You guessed right, I fell in love with Haijin from the first time I saw her. Now I am pursuing her, but she hasn't agreed to me yet. As for these things, they were bought with Haijin's own money. Shenziu, Li Lanrong and other girls all looked at Li Yuan in amazement. Are all boys now so brave? Not only did they dare to play tricks and publicly express their love to female classmates at the freshman class meeting, but they started shopping together and sent girls back to the dormitory in just a short time. Also, they could roughly see what the situation of Xia's Haijin's family was. Compared with them, they were far worse. None of them could afford these things, let alone Xia's Haijin. Li Yuan seemed to understand their doubts. He glanced at the anxious Xia's Haijin and explained with a smile. This afternoon, Haijin and I went to the nearby Longjio shopping mall for a while. Haijin is really a lucky star. She bought a scratch-off ticket and won 30,000 yuan, so, she bought these things. Shenziu, Li Lanrong, and others were stunned. They couldn't help but look at the nervous and shy Xia's Haijin. Could her luck really be so good? Just go to the street, go to a mall, buy a scratch-off lottery ticket, and you can win tens of thousands of yuan? This is a bit too incredible. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 66. Shenziu murmured to herself, is it true or not? Why don't I believe it? My intuition tells me that you bought all these things. Li Yuan glanced at her. He used this excuse for Xia's Haijin. Even if nothing happened between him and Xia's Haijin, he bought her this gift worth tens of thousands just to pursue Xia's Haijin, which would make her the target of public criticism. People who are envious and jealous and hateful and don't know the truth don't know how to plot against her behind her back, or even isolate her. 3 women in one drama, countless groups in one dormitory, it's no joke. Li Yuan spread his hands, I got Haijin's good luck and made a small profit of a few thousand yuan. If you plan to buy lottery tickets in the future, you can touch Haijin's hand and get her blessing. Shenziu, Li Lanrong, and others looked at each other. Li Yuan looked very sincere and didn't seem to be fake. Besides, even if Li Yuan was really a rich second generation, it was unlikely that he would buy something worth tens of thousands of yuan just after meeting her. Another fashionable girl came out of the bathroom and looked carefully at the gifts Li Yuan brought in. She was amazed. Lianxiang Y730 laptop, Nokia N95, SK2 magic water set, tisk tisk. I want to buy them, but my mother is reluctant to buy them for me. Li Yuan smiled. The girl who spoke was called Ji Chen Chen. Judging from her accent, she was a native of Shanghai. When she introduced herself, she had an inexplicable sense of superiority. Classmates, the dormitory and only gave me 10 minutes. I have sent Haijin back to the dormitory safely and completed the task perfectly. Shenzhou politely asked, "Student Li Yuan, don't you want to stay for a while?" Li Yuan shook his head, "No, I have military training tomorrow, I have to rest early today." After that, Li Yuan blinked at the shy Xiao's Haijin and made a phone call gesture in his ear, "Haijin, I'm leaving." Xiao's Haijin nodded shyly, "Yeah." Li Yuan didn't care, turned around and left. Seeing Xiao's Haijin still in a daze, Shenzhou teased, "Haijin, handsome Li has left, aren't you going out to see him off?" "Ah. Still, do you want to see him off?" Xiao's Haijin asked cutely. Li Lanrong looked at Xiao's Haijin and laughed, "It doesn't matter, Haijin, tell the truth, what's going on between you and Li Yuan?" Li Yuan came to the guard downstairs and said hello to the dormitory aunt. "Sister, I didn't exceed the time, just 10 minutes, no more, no less." The dormitory aunt smiled and looked at Li Yuan deeply, "Young man, you are quite punctual. I thought you would dawdle for a while. You have good taste." Li Yuan nodded very frankly, "That's right, I don't like ordinary girls." The dormitory aunt rolled her eyes, "I said you were fat, but you were panting. Let's go quickly. Don't do it again next time. Goodbye, sister, I will bring you milk tea next time. Go away, don't think there will be a next time." Li Yuan smiled secretly. Once there is a first time, there will be a second time. If you break an exception once, you will continue to break exceptions, which means it will be a matter of course. Just like the lies that girls often tell, as long as there is a first time, there will be countless times. Whoever really believes it is a real idiot. What Li Yuan didn't know was that after he left, after being tortured by roommates such as Shenzhou and Li Lanrong, Xiao's Haijin, the naive treasure girl, was easily exposed. Ji Chen only asked Xiao's Haijin one question, and she was sure that Li Yuan must be lying. Because Xiao's Haijin couldn't even tell how much a scratch ticket cost, how to play it, or where to buy it. Li Yuan is really interesting. Is he really a rich second generation? I'm starting to be interested in him. After Fang Yani and Zhou Dan returned to the dormitory, they immediately told other roommates the explosive news. "Tisk tisk, Li Yuan is really serious. I thought he and Lucio were just doing it for the show effect. Just now I passed by Xiao's Haijin's dormitory and heard them happily discussing. It seems that Li Yuan not only bought Xiao's Haijin a laptop, but also the latest mobile phone. Adding up, it's 10,000 or 20,000. But, I heard that Xiao's Haijin won the lottery. It's just an excuse. You believe it? It's not that easy to win. If the ID number is wrong, it's impossible to win." Wang Zhirong was watching a TV series. When she heard her roommate's discussion, her face changed and she was particularly irritated. She slapped the table, "Can you stop gossiping? What's so good about a piece of gossip?" Fang Yani and others knew why Wang Zhirong was so angry. As a proud white swan, Wang Zhirong always had a sense of superiority and enjoyed the eyes of all the boys in the class. But at the freshman class meeting this morning, she made a fool of herself, which made her feel ashamed. Zhou Dan is from the Northeast, and has a very forthright personality. She immediately said sarcastically, "Oh, you can't eat grapes and say that grapes are sour." Wang Zhirong stood up angrily and looked at Zhou Dan. "Zhou Dan, say it again." Zhou Dan did not give in at all. "I'll say it again, you can't eat grapes and say that grapes are sour, what can you do to me?" Fang Yani saw that the roommates were about to have a conflict, and hurriedly stepped forward to persuade them. "Dandan, Zhirong, you all say less, for a man, is it worth it?" Fourth update, please subscribe. Chapter 75 Xiao Yuer, I sing the song you wrote. First update, please subscribe. Li Yuan didn't know that because he sent Xiao's Haijin back, he had become the center of conversation in the girls' dormitory. Checking the time, it was only after 8 o'clock in the evening. Li Yuan did not return directly to the boys' dormitory. A person leisurely came to the school playground, subconsciously took out a cigarette, and just about to light it, he realized that he didn't have a lighter. He angrily stuffed the cigarette into the cigarette case and said to himself, "Xia's Haijin, my treasure girl, for you, I really want to quit smoking." Li Yuan sat on the steps beside the playground, looking at the couples walking together in the playground, and couldn't help but smile. Today, he was really happy spending time with Xia's Haijin. It made him feel like he had completely let go of himself and returned to that carefree and innocent moment. Before, even if he was reborn, his soul had already been sculpted for more than 30 years and was already exhausted. So sometimes, he is very irritable and does not look like a middle-aged man. This is all because of the accumulation of too many negative emotions in his previous life. When you are in an environment and have been suppressed for a long time, it suddenly explodes like a torrent, destroying all obstacles. He used to be the kind of character who was full of negative energy but was suppressed. Starting from college, the failures along the way, the pressure of work, life, family, and all kinds of pressure made him overwhelmed and his psychology became distorted. It also made him, who was originally full of energy, become withdrawn and taciturn, like a powder keg, ready to explode. And when I stayed with Xia's Haijin for most of the day, her innocent and clear smile, her shy and charming face, her beautiful eyebrows like willow leaves, and her every frown and smile were particularly infectious. I don't know if Haijin will be seen through by her roommates. Those girls don't seem to be fuel-efficient lamps. Li Yuan was really worried about Xia's Haijin. She was so simple that she was like a piece of white paper, pure and flawless. Even if he is a middle-aged uncle, he can't help but be infected when he is with her. This is why he likes girls like this. Because his own soul is already very dirty and he is no longer innocent, so he wants to get closer to such an innocent girl. But it doesn't matter. Even if it is exposed, so what? As long as Haijin is happy, who can do anything? It's a pity that there is military training tomorrow, so I won't be able to properly train my precious girl. Li Yuan's thoughts wandered far away, and suddenly he thought that tomorrow was the official military training time, and he couldn't help but feel a little irritated. Military training for college freshmen is very strict. The training starts at 6:30 in the morning and lasts until around 9 o'clock in the evening. All kinds of training include standing in military posture, turning left and right, walking in unison, walking in step, etc. It is boring and boring. To say it's not hard would be a lie. In his previous life, he had already tried military training once, so it would be boring to do it again. In the 2 weeks of military training, I really want to have a minor surgery, and then ask the military training instructor for a sick leave to do my own thing, Li Yuan muttered in his heart. It is not easy to take sick leave. 1 or 2 days is fine. 2 weeks must be approved by the school leader. Daxia University is still a 985 university, so it is stricter in this regard. Too bad, my appendix isn't inflamed. Li Yuan's thoughts were racing, and he thought about preparing to start a business. It had been more than 10 days since the company had been renovated, and it would be almost complete in another half-month. After the military training is over, you can start your own business. At present, including 2 months of writing fees, Li Yuan still has more than 18 million in cash, which is stored in bank cards and company accounts. These funds were prepared by him for starting a business. Whether you are making games, building various websites, etc., you need to invest a certain amount of money in the early stage. In the internet industry, there is no one with hundreds or tens of millions, and you can't even make a splash. Fortunately, due to the economic crisis, there is now a surplus of talent in the entire talent market. As long as you are willing to pay the cost, it is not difficult to recruit some high-end computer field talents. With his guidance, you can avoid many detours and just turn on the get mode. It's like building a website. He taught himself computer programming in his previous life and worked as a coder. Even now, he can do it by spending only a certain amount of time. It's just that the effect may not necessarily be very good. Li Yuan has many entrepreneurial plans in mind. As long as one of these ideas succeeds, he will be able to achieve financial freedom in the second half of his life. Of course, if all fails, it can only be said that he is insulated from entrepreneurship and business, and he should just be his own great writer, part-time charterer, and spend this life quietly. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 67. I hope the military training will end soon, so that the Datang commercial giant can be officially launched. At that time, I will punch Ali's mother, kick blind Jingzi brother in the face, and make Dad Ma and Dad Wang kneel down to conquer. While Li Yuan was thinking about it, suddenly, his cell phone rang. He took out his cell phone and saw that it was a call from Zhang Ziyu, a young rich woman. Li Yuan answered the call readily. Before he opened his mouth, Zhang Ziyu's cheerful voice could already be heard over there. Brother Ziyu, what are you doing? Do you miss me? As soon as Zhang Ziyu opened his mouth, Li Yuan was startled and aroused his fragile nerves. This little rich woman with a rich background was the most unrestrained among the girls he met, and she did not hide her love for him at all. This is especially true after we met 3 days ago. Every morning, noon, and evening, when I have nothing to do, I will send him messages to chat and share my life. Li Yuan couldn't help but think about the girls who might have something to do with him now or in the future. Needless to say, Bai Wuxi, Bai Yueguang, whom he had not loved for 2 lifetimes, was also considered his real first girlfriend, and it hurt him the most. Even after more than 10 years, when he thinks of her, he will still miss her and feel heartache. It is most appropriate to use a lyric to describe him in the past. Missing is a breathing pain, it lives in every corner of my body. Now, he couldn't explain his feelings for Bai Wuxi. Maybe he wanted revenge and collected interest more. Except for Bai Wuxi, he and Zhong Tingyu actually don't have a deep relationship. It's just that he had a deep impression on her in his previous life. Zhong Tingyu will be a cold goddess in the future, the kind that is very cold. She can be frozen even if she is even slightly close. Zombie, shutting out all suitors. The current Zhong Tingyu has not yet completed the evolution of the cold goddess. Xiao Yuer and Zhang Ziyu, the two of them had no intersection in the previous life, and they were the closest to him. If they were in the same school and saw each other often, their relationship would definitely soar quickly. There is also the treasure girl Xiao's Haijin. This girl is soft on the outside and strong on the inside. She is really perfect. She is his ideal type. With his current rank, it should not be a big problem to win her over. Various thoughts passed through Li Yuan's mind. He came back to his senses and smiled. Xiao Yuer, I'm in the school stadium, what's wrong? Zhang Ziyu said shyly, brother Xiahua, if nothing happens, can't people take the initiative to contact you? Li Yuan wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, of course. On the other end of the phone, Zhang Ziyu's voice suddenly became weaker, with anticipation and shyness in his tone. Well, brother Xiahua, do you miss me? Li Yuan asked back, do you want me to say yes or no? Humph, I hate it. People are asking you, brother Xiahua, answer me directly. That's just a little bit of thought. When Zhang Ziyu heard Li Yuan's answer, he muttered and hummed dissatisfied, brother Xiahua, what do you mean? Think, right. Li Yuan wiped his sweat and suddenly felt like being asked by his girlfriend, do you love me or not? It's strange, has the relationship between me and Xiao Yuer reached this point? Li Yuan muttered in his heart. Of course, he just said this in his heart. Because longing is a magical power that can transcend time and space. When you miss me, you can feel that I am also thinking of you, Li Yuan answered seriously. Zhang Ziyu asked doubtfully, but, I miss brother Xiaohua every day, but I don't feel that you miss me too. Li Yuan's expression remained unchanged. That means you haven't thought enough. Zhang Xiao said, I really want to see brother Xiaohua, can I come to you now? Li Yuan was startled. It was almost 9 o'clock in the evening. Can he still go back? It's too late today. We have to get up early for military training tomorrow. Let's wait until the military training is over. I forgot, you still have military training for 2 weeks. I'm afraid I can't help but want to find you. Zhang Xiao's tone was full of longing. In the past few days, she had been chatting with Li Yuan on various topics every day, and it felt like not seeing him for 3 days was like 3 autumns. Ah, it's better to say goodbye. It's already very late when the military training ends. Zhang Xiao muttered, I really want to ask for a leave for you. Brother Xiaohua, I have composed the song you wrote for me yesterday according to the tune you hummed. I want to sing it to you now. Li Yuan was shocked and asked curiously, I just gave you the lyrics yesterday, and you composed the music today. As the richest woman on the list, Li Yuan chose a song for Zhang Xiao that was very suitable for her based on her voice and appearance. Of course, there were only lyrics, and he couldn't compose the music. Zhang Xiao said proudly, Brother Xiaohua, I am a music student. Is it difficult to compose a piece of music? Besides, Brother Xiaohua has already hummed the rough tune to me. Brother Xiaohua, let me sing it to you now, okay? Li Yuan felt like his bones were going numb. If the little rich woman was willing to sing to him, it was a natural thing. Thinking about this scene, I feel very exciting. A very beautiful girl, singing the song you wrote for her, for you to listen to. Chapter 76 Confession Balloon, Xiaohuida asks for a face-to-face interview. Sing to me on the phone? Li Yuan smiled, this was also a novel experience. Yesterday, he sent Zhang Xiao a lyric that would be familiar to future generations. As for the composition of this song, he naturally didn't know how to do it, but he also sang the general tune to Zhang Xiao over the phone. Li Yuan smiled expectantly and said, Xiao Yuer, then you sing it? I'm looking forward to it. This song is very suitable for girls to sing. Brother Xiaohua, then wait for me for a few seconds. I'll get ready. Don't hang up the phone. Zhang Xiao gave a warning and left. After a while, a familiar melody came from the other end of the phone. It should be Zhang Xiao playing the piano. The rhythm sounded, and the melodious prelude entered his ears. The melody was slightly different from the song in the previous life. It was more lively and more suitable for female singing. Li Yuan was fascinated by it, and his ears seemed to be pregnant. It must be said that Zhang Xiao's voice was very light and the sound quality was very high. It was more pleasant than those tuners in the future. In the blink of an eye, after the song was sung, Li Yuan was still immersed in the song, and Zhang Xiao's slightly nervous tone of inquiry came to his ears. Brother Xiaohua, how did I sing? I changed the tune you hummed a little. Li Yuan gave a thumbs up and praised him without hesitation, Xiao Yuer, you sang very well, and your voice was more beautiful than I imagined. If you officially debut and release an album, you will definitely be very popular and become a big star. Zhang Xiao was very happy to receive Li Yuan's praise, and his tone became much more cheerful. It's all because Brother Xiaohua wrote the lyrics well, and the tune you hummed was also very rhythmic. Brother Xiaohua, you are really great, the most talented person I have ever seen. Li Yuan was a little embarrassed. He was not talented at all. At best, he was just a thief. Xiao Yuer, are you going to sing this song at the welcome party? Zhang Xiao answered happily, yes, I believe it will be a big hit. After Zhang Xiao finished speaking, he paused and asked in a pitiful tone, Brother Xiaohua, can I ask you for a favor? Li Yuan asked curiously, Xiao Yuer, what is it? Zhang Xiao said shyly, Brother Xiaohua, on the day of the welcome party, can you come to our school to watch my performance? I want to sing this song to you in front of all the teachers and students in the school. After saying that, Zhang Xiao's voice became shy, because this song is really suitable for confession. Li Yuan was stunned. A beauty at the level of a school belle invited me to attend the welcome party of her school. This school belle also sang the song she wrote for her in person. This, if you think about it, is really exciting. It's not impossible. Imagine that in front of thousands of people, a beauty of Zhang Xiao's level sings this song to you affectionately. That feeling. Oh no, it's really a bit heart-moving. In his previous life, he also accompanied by Wixi to watch the concert live. The noisy and lively atmosphere was really interesting, but it was easy to empty his wallet. Once, in order to watch a concert live, who knows how many months he ate steamed buns and lao gan ma, with a lot of sadness and tears. Thinking of the unbearable past, Li Yuan coughed lightly, and gave Zhang Xiao a positive answer in her expectant eyes. That day, if there is nothing particularly urgent, I will definitely go to watch it live. Zhang Xiao was very happy after hearing this. Brother Xiahua, you are so nice. I will always wait for you. See you later. By the way, Brother Xiahua, I have prepared a surprise for you. I hope you like it. Li Yuan was stunned. There are other surprises? He asked directly. Xiao Yuer, what surprise did you prepare for me? Humph, I won't tell you now. Zhang Xiao's arrogant tone was like a girlfriend in love. If I tell you, it won't be a surprise. Li Yuan smiled and had some expectations in his heart. Can you give me some hints so that I can be mentally prepared? Zhang Xiao's tone was extremely shy. Brother Xiahua, then I will give you a simple hint. That kind of thing is something you don't have now. I don't have it now. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 68. Li Yuan's mind was racing with thoughts. What doesn't he have now? It seems like something is missing, a girlfriend. Could it be? Is there such a thing as sexual bliss? Probably not. Although Xiao Yuer seems very playful and shows affection for him, the relationship between the two cannot reach this point so quickly, right? Li Yuan did not continue to ask. Then I'll look forward to it. Brother Xiahua, let me tell you, today some of my roommates praised you to the sky, and they all want to meet you. Ah! Xiao Yuer, did you tell your roommates about me? Zhang Xiao thought Li Yuan was angry and quickly explained. Brother Xiahua, I didn't tell them your information. I just said that a good friend of mine wrote it to me, and I also recommended your book to them. Li Yuan asked curiously, Xiao Yuer, shouldn't all girls like books about girls? Like my Yandere girlfriend, the domineering president falls in love with me, the school beauty's personal expert. Zhang Xiao chuckled and said, Brother Xiahua, girls are different from girls. Like me, I prefer fantasy novels. Xiao Suna in your book is very interesting. Li Yuan suddenly realized, I understand, so, Xiao Yuer, you followed Xiao Suna and learned how to call me Brother Xiao Yan, so you called me Brother Xiahua, right? Hey, Brother Xiahua, you are so smart. Brother Xiahua, there are several die-hard readers in the book club group who are following you. I see that you haven't been popping up in the group recently. Are you very busy recently? You know, we just started school and there are a lot of things going on, so we don't pay much attention to group messages. Li Yuan smiled and said that he has not been very busy recently. He just entered college and was invited by several roommates to go to the court to play basketball if he had nothing to do. Man is a social animal, and he cannot be too gregarious. After all, he still has 4 years of college career left. They are in the group, what do they want from me? It's okay. The main thing is that you haven't updated much recently and I want to ask why. Li Yuan nodded, when I have some free time, I'll check the group messages. I'm going to have military training soon, so I may not have time to type. Now, I'm using the saved manuscripts. Zhangziu, brother Xiahua, you should pay attention to your health. You don't need to work so hard to write. Other great writers don't update half as much as you do every day. You have worked very hard, which is great. In my heart, you are the best. Being praised like this by the little rich woman and beauty, Li Yuan was very happy. This Dopo fan after the magic modification is of some value. Xiao Yuer, sing that song again and listen to it with me. Zhang Ziu secretly rejoiced, brother Xiahua, do you really like to hear it? Li Yuan gave an affirmative answer, your singing is very tasteful and has a unique feeling. It is even better than the person I dreamed about when I was dreaming. Zhang Ziu said shyly, really? Brother Xiahua, have you dreamed of me? Then you want me to dream about you. Brother Xiahua, I really want to see you. After nearly half an hour of talking on the phone with Xiao Yuer, Li Yuan sighed inwardly. He felt a little strange and suddenly felt a little depressed. He knew what the reason was. He is learning from Biwixi in his previous life, building his own fish pond unknowingly. And now, there are probably 2 mermaids in this fish pond, still swimming happily without realizing it. In the previous life, after knowing that Baiyueguang in my heart was also my first love, Biwixi, after raising fish, even after 2 lifetimes, the unwillingness and resentment in my heart were still difficult to let go. In his heart, he could predict what would happen if he caught up with Xia's Haijin, Zhang Ziu, Zhong Tingyu, or other girls who would appear in the future. What is certain is the scene of Shura Field. With his current rank, it is easy to be a scumbag, and it is also easy to be the king of the sea, but the prerequisite is that he must be able to get through the hurdle in his heart. And if you invest sincere feelings, then no one will be hurt in the end. It is not so easy to be a master of time management, and you may also encounter Shura Field scenes. Why do you think so much? No matter who she is, it doesn't matter if she is broken into pieces. When you are reborn in this life, you should be free and unrestrained and live happily. Li Yuan dispersed the chaotic thoughts in his heart. Open QQ on your mobile phone and enter the reader group. As expected, there are a lot of news about Ait himself. Shuhuang asked for recommendation, Xiahuadada, why have the number of updates decreased recently? I rewarded the leader of the alliance and will update more as soon as possible. Nuaniang after the storm, I have rewarded the Gold Alliance. I agreed that the alliance leader will add 1 update, the Silver Alliance will receive 10 updates, and the Gold Alliance will receive 100 updates. Love to eat coriander, well, brother Xiahua may be busy recently and doesn't have time to code. It's already very hard for him to update 10,000 words every day. I just like Xiao Beiwen, I'm sorry, there is a situation. Brother Zionke, how do you know that Xiahua is busy? Do you know each other offline? Nuaniang after the storm, there must be a story in it, tell me quickly, we are all waiting to eat melon. Love to eat coriander, shy expression JPG, brother Xiahua is a really handsome guy, he is also very gentle, very talented, he is the ideal type of all girls. Warm sun after the storm, damn, there is something going on. It seems that Mr. Zionke has already met Mr. Xiahua offline. Born like a summer flower, Mr. Xiahua, tell me your address and ask for a face-to-face meeting. Book shortage, please recommend a book, Born like a summer flower, request a face-to-face meeting 1. Please update quickly, Born like a summer flower, request a face-to-face meeting 1. Like to brag, Born like a summer flower, request a face-to-face meeting 1. Chapter 77 Lively Class Group, by Yueguang's essay, 3rd update, please subscribe. Li Yuan looked at the message in the book club and felt his scalp tingling. The book club members are all powerful big men. There must be more than one like Xiao Yuer. In this case, he will reveal his true identity sooner or later. However, it doesn't matter, but life may not be peaceful. This book club is a full subscription group. The readers in it are his bread and butter. Li Yuan can't turn a blind eye. Just replied a message in the group, the new author just went to college and will have military training soon. Time is tight, and I will try my best to find time to write. As for the reward leader, I will add more chapters according to the author's actual situation. Big brother, spare my life, kowtow for mercy.jpg. If you want to meet in person, you may have to wait for a while. I am currently discussing the simplified Chinese publication with the operator of Yuandian Chinese network. I may hold an offline signing event after a while, and then I can meet you all. As soon as Li Yuan spoke, the Book Friends group immediately became popular. In just more than 10 seconds, hundreds of messages popped up. Books are scarce and ask for book recommendations. Xiahua is awesome. It's going to start publishing. Is it going to be a physical route? When the offline press conference starts, you must say in the group that I want to meet in person. Warm sun after the storm, I found a hot spot. Xiahua is actually a freshman and is studying in Shanghai. I am also in Shanghai, at Born Like a Summer Flower. Send me your location and I'll find you. Forever Black Mamba, Xiahua is awesome. I'm also a student, also in Shanghai. I wonder if Xiahua and I are in the same school. Let me reveal that I'm in a 985 university in Shanghai. Reading silently, at Forever Black Mamba, you're awesome, you're actually a top student from a 985 university. What year are you in now? What major are you studying? Forever Black Mamba, why, do you want to find out about me? If Xiahua asks me, you can chat with me privately. Li Yuan chatted for a while and felt his scalp tingling. This world is big, but it's also small. At least, in this era of people finding out about others' information, it's not that difficult to find an online friend. If he reveals more information, his real identity might really be discovered by his book friends. As for the physical book publication of Battle of the Stars, after contacting Yuandian Chinese Network, the first part has been prepared for publication and printing, and is currently being refined and typed. In the past 2 months, he has updated 1 million words himself, which is enough to publish several volumes. The physical book is naturally very exquisitely made, mainly for collection. If it is officially published, plus the copyright fees and the share of sales, it can also earn millions. If the sales are good, even tens of millions are not impossible. This book, in the previous life, brought hundreds of millions of income to Tudo. It is equivalent to a hen that lays golden eggs, and the average price has been continuously increasing. Unfortunately, there is no anti-theft protection now, otherwise it would have reached 100,000 average prices. But even so, because of the previous explosion, the VIP paid chapters have continued to increase, and the income is also gradually increasing. If nothing unexpected happens, the manuscript fee in September can reach about 2 million. The cash available on him has reached more than 18 million, which is more than enough to be used as a startup fund. After chatting with his book friends, Li Yuan replied to a few messages and continued to browse QQ, looking at the high school class group. Because they had just entered college, they all liked to share new things about college campus in the group. Suji, brothers and beauties, tomorrow we will have military training at the university. Is there anything we need to pay attention to? Wang Shui, I think girls should prepare more sunscreen. The weather in the whole country is hot now. It is easy to get sunburned during military training. Suji, what about boys? Yu Chen and I walked around the school today. The weather in this magic city is really too hot. Although it is not one of the 4 furnaces, I feel that it is almost the same as the 4 furnaces. Dong Yuqiu replied, haha, do you know how hot Jianyi is in September? The outdoor temperature is over 40 degrees, and eggs can be cooked on the ground. Your magic city is much better than Jianyi. Su Baibei, Don't say it, I'm stupid. I applied for a medical university in a mountain city. It's even hotter here. The temperature is over 40 degrees every day. Except for eating, I can't go out at all. There is no air conditioning in the dormitory, and high-power electrical appliances are not allowed. It's simply impossible to live. Suji at life is like a summer flower. Li Yuan, what have you been doing these days? Yuchen, Wang Shui and I said we would go to play with you, but you kept saying you were busy. Are you busy doing business to make money? Wang Yuchen, who had been lurking all the time, suddenly said something inexplicable. Maybe someone is busy dating a senior girl at school, at someone who gets bored easily with the old and loves the new. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 69. Wang Shui asked curiously, is there something to eat? I always feel that classmate Wang Yuchen is talking about someone in our class. Wang Yuchen, who dares to be irresponsible? If you don't love me, then please let go. Why bother to go to the same university shamelessly and pretend to be affectionate to others? Wang Shui sent a big question mark emoji to the group and replied, we are in the same university, our class seems to be just you and Suji, and brother Yuan and. At Suzy, is classmate Yuchen talking about you? No way. You just arrived at the university and you fell in love with someone else and started attacking your senior sister. Suji hurriedly clarified, please don't accuse me wrongly. My heart for Yuchen is evidenced by the sun and the moon, and can be learned from the heaven and the earth. In this life, I only love her, how can I be in love with another person? Wang Shui, who is that talking about? Brother Yuan, please come out and say something. Li Yuan looked at the high school group messages and replied, what does it have to do with me? When Wang Shui saw Li Yuan speaking out, he quickly asked, Brother Yuan, is it you that Yu Chen is talking about? How are you and classmate Bai doing? Have you achieved righteousness in your cultivation? Before Li Yuan could answer, Wang Yuchen, as Bai Wixi's best friend, began to mock with a gun and a stick. Li Yuan, Xiao Bai is sincere to you, do you need to play hard to get and make her sad? Your behavior makes me really despise her. Suji quickly said, Yuchen, Li Yuan, what's going on? Stop arguing. Wang Shui also asked quickly, what's going on, Yuchen, what happened to Li Yuan and classmate Bai? Li Yuan frowned slightly when he saw Wang Yuchen's reply, feeling baffled. Who was she? I am qualified to say this about myself. Wang Yuchen replied in the group again, Li Yuan, you are a man, just stand up and explain clearly in front of the whole class, why do you treat Xiao Bai like that? Li Yuan snorted coldly, it has nothing to do with you. Suddenly, a familiar ID by Lu Wuxi suddenly replied, Li Yuan, what about me? The other students in the class group, seeing the male and female protagonists in the topic facing each other, hurriedly moved their benches attentively and waited to eat. Everyone in the class is aware of the emotional entanglement between Li Yuan and Bai Wuxi. I thought that when Li Yuan filled in his application for the college entrance examination, he became a beauty in anger, and it was a blessing in disguise that he missed 985 and would eventually achieve success. But now, at the beginning of college life, the situation took a turn for the worse. What is going on? Everyone who eats melons is very curious. Facing Bai Wuxi's inquiry, Li Yuan didn't know how to answer. If before meeting Xia's Haijin, he might still have the mood to retaliate against Bai Wuxi, and wanted to use his own body to retaliate against her, treating her like a fish raised in own pond. But today, after meeting Xia's Haijin, a treasured girl, he felt that the seal that had sealed his heart had been loosened again. Xia's Haijin is really his ideal treasure girl. Li Yuan thought for a long time before replying a poem in the group. If life is just like the first time we met, why should the autumn wind draw a fan with sadness? It is easy to change the heart of an old friend, but the heart of an old friend is easy to change. As soon as Li Yuan finished replying, he saw Bai Wuxi replying in the group, so, love will disappear, right? I understand. Then, Bai Wuxi became silent again. The lively class group also became dead silent again because of this incident. Li Yuan's expression kept changing, and finally, there was only a sigh left. After a while, Su Ji sent a private message. Brother Yuan, Bai Wuxi has quit the group, what's going on with you two? I asked Yuchen, but Yuchen didn't say anything. He just said that you were a scumbag and a liar, and asked me to sever ties with you in the future. Li Yuan didn't know how to explain it at all. If he had not applied for the same university as Bai Wuxi, perhaps the two of them would have become strangers and slowly forgotten about them under the influence of time. But in order to miss the 985 of Daxia University, he happened to be admitted to the same university as Bai Wuxi. This is so true that even if you jump into the Yellow River, you won't be able to wash it away. Li Yuan replied, I can't explain it in one sentence. Maybe she and I are really destined to have no connection. That's it? We are brothers. Don't say anything else. Su Ji wanted to ask something else, but seeing that Li Yuan didn't want to say more, he stopped asking and just said. Brother Yuan, I think there may be some misunderstanding between you and Bai Wuxi. I can feel that Bai Wuxi likes you. Yuchen told me that Bai Wuxi cried for you for a long time, Brother Yuan, I hope you two can finally go on. Li Yuan was silent and did not answer. Can we really go on? How is that possible? That invisible root thorn has always been there and has never disappeared. After a while, Wang Shui also sent a message, which contained only one sentence. Brother Yuan, take a look at Bai Wuxi's space log. I think there may be some misunderstandings between you and Bai Wuxi. Brother Yuan, I hope you will treat it carefully and clarify the misunderstanding, so as not to regret it for the rest of your life. Li Yuan didn't answer. He didn't want to pay attention to it, but he didn't know what he was feeling. By some strange mistake, he still entered Bai Wuxi's QQ space. QQ space shows that Bai Wuxi posted a new update, which is her space log update. Li Yuan stared at it, and for a moment, he fell into endless silence. The title of the article is called Missing is More Painful Than Waiting. In a chaotic life, I pick up a pen to commemorate the passing years. In the misty and rainy season, the flowers are blooming at their most beautiful. Inscription. This season in the south of the Yangtze River, there is misty rain, lingering clouds, and mist, hazy and dreamlike. This season in the south of the Yangtze River, hundreds of flowers are in full bloom. After that, we drove all the way to the end of the night. This season in the south of the Yangtze River, I can hear endless raindrops, ticking on the windowsill and falling on my heart. In this season of Jiangnan, there are endless melancholy, and the writing is just the ups and downs, bitterness, spicy and salty past. No one would dislike the lush greenery and flowers. Just like the love, hate and resentment in this life, people are crazy about it and are obsessed with it without regret. It's just that the colorful colors in front of me are always spring, and what falls is another picture of youth called memory. No matter how you smear it and carve it with all your strength, the picture will become increasingly blurry. Thinking of those green years of my youth, the clear melody in my ears confirmed the vows you once made under the pagoda of 10,000 Buddhas and in front of Nanhua Gate. My oath has never drifted away, your oath has become like a cloud of smoke. Like someone, bright and sad. Some endings seem to be doomed from this moment on. Lin Huiyan said, on the stem of memory, who does not have 2 or 3 painting flowers, covered with emotions, spreading out namelessly. When the remaining red color dissipates, who knows how lonely painting will interpret beauty. By Louis May said, sometimes, if you wait for someone for too long, you will forget his appearance and even his name. Sometimes, waiting too long for a lotus to bloom will make the distinct four seasons blurry. If life is just like the first time we met, why should the autumn wind draw a fan sadly? The ending of some stories seems to be doomed from the beginning. I just wanted to keep searching all the way. Even if I knew it would be in vain in the end, I would have no regrets. The leaves are falling in a hurry, and autumn has arrived before you know it. Life is in a hurry, and looking back, love is far away. For young you and me, missing out is a greater regret than acquaintance. Every lonely year, every windy season, every sleepless night, I always think of you unconsciously, miss your smile, your worry, your sorrow, and the love you once had for me. Well, I will always keep it in my heart. The calm lake of my heart was once turbulent and suddenly rippled because of you. The wind is cold and the frost is blowing, but your lingering heart is full of fragrance. The changes in the world, the years you have passed, the eternal beauty. I once thought that first love is as bright as summer flowers. To this day, I know it was all just a dream. Goodbye, that boy. After Li Yuan finished reading, he was speechless. All kinds of feelings came to his heart, and he didn't know what he was thinking. The full text of the diary contains 1,207 words, which happens to be his birthday number. I don't know if it was a coincidence or if she did it on purpose. Li Yuan silently read it again and again. Every time he read it, it was as if he was questioning his soul as to why it became like this. Li Yuan couldn't help but think of how similar he was to the scene in his previous life, except that he was the one who wrote the space diary. Li Yuan's mood became extremely irritable. Bai Wuxi, you owed me my last life. Why should I pretend to be so affectionate in this life? TMD, why on earth, why should my emotions be affected by you? Since you said goodbye, there is really no point in continuing to pester. I won't play with you anymore, so that's it? Li Yuan glanced at Bai Wuxi's space log again, and with a heartbeat, he returned to her personal information page, clicked on settings, scrolled to the bottom, looked at the delete friend option, and immediately made up his mind and selected delete. After deleting Bai Wuxi's friends, Li Yuan suddenly felt empty in his heart, as if he had lost something. This feeling made him very irritable. Bai Wuxi, from now on, we will never see each other again. Let's put an end to this once and for all. You and I disappear from each other's lives? If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 70. Chapter 78 Rotten Bai Yueguang, military training begins. Li Yuan, who felt empty and extremely irritable, walked aimlessly along the stands of the school's football field. He is like a lonely traveler, alone under the moonlight. Although it was already after 9 o'clock in the evening, there were still many couples and friends on the green lawn of the football field below, admiring the bright white moonlight. Li Yuan looked up at the starry sky. A bright moon hung high in the dark night sky, shining brightly on the earth. Involuntarily, he remembered a song he liked very much in his previous life and hummed it unconsciously. The songs of the past were all wrapped around my fingertips. I couldn't get the beauty, and they were always scratching my heart. The white moonlight is shining, and you think of her kindness. The cinnabar mole will last forever. Do you know? The bright moon shines in front of the window, and you look out into the distance alone. The white moonlight is your youth and her smile. Li Yuan smiled self-deprecatingly. It turns out that the person who has never come out is actually myself. It's been 2 lifetimes, it's time to wake up. Smiling and smiling, 2 drops of crystal tears slipped from the corners of his eyes unconsciously. Li Yuan continued to hum as if he was completely unaware. That night, Li Yuan sat alone in the stands of the campus playground until very late. When they returned to the dormitory, several roommates were still asleep. The 3 years of hard study in high school had made them develop a good habit of going to bed late and getting up late. After all, they were all cats. Seeing Li Yuan back, Lucia stepped forward excitedly. "Brother Yuan, you are finally back. You are so awesome today." Zhou Tianyu, who has always been proud, also gave a thumbs up, with admiration in his eyes. "Li Yuan, I'm convinced, you are a true master of love. In half a day, you won over a girl you just met." Lucia asked curiously, "Brother Yuan, tell us how beautiful that girl named Xiao's Haijin is." Wu Hao also asked with great confusion. From Brother Yuan's point of view, ordinary girls, even sexy girls like Wang Zhirong, he can't look down on. "I'm very curious about what Xiao's Haijin looks like." Li Yuan was in an irritable mood, his eyes were slightly red and swollen, and he laughed and cursed. "You guys, what nonsense are you talking about? Classmate Xiao's Haijin and I have a simple relationship between a man and a woman." Zhou Tianyu curled his lips and joked, "Haha, Li Yuan, do you think we will believe it? Is there such a thing as a pure relationship between men and women? Unless they are an old couple, they are the most innocent." After hearing this, Li Yuan couldn't help but glance at Zhou Tianyu. This guy really has something. He deserves to be called Guanyun Zhoujuji, and he sees things thoroughly. Li Yuan and Xiao's Haijin walked around for most of the day. Although they were not tired, they were in a very bad mood after the turmoil in the high school class group. They were particularly irritable and said feebly, "Believe it or not, it's up to you, I'm tired and sleepy." Lucia said quickly, "Brother Yuan, don't sleep. Wake up. It's only 11 o'clock in the evening. Can you sleep? The brothers are waiting for you to teach you their love experience." Li Yuan was too lazy to talk to Lucia, a second-rate guy. After entering college, Lucia's true nature was completely exposed, and he was a completely boring and coquettish man. "I have only one thing to advise you: if you like a girl, make your move first, and then move your mouth after you move your move. After you finish moving your mouth, move your third leg. That's it." Lucia, Wu Hao, and others were still thinking seriously about Li Yuan's love experience, while Zhou Tianyu on the side was already scolding. "You idiots, if you follow Li Yuan's advice and start in 3 years, just wait until you get into the game and wait for a few years before you come out." Lucia suddenly realized, "Holy shit, 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 it turns out that Brother Yuan is talking about verbs, this guy can also drive." After coming back to his senses, Wu Hao smiled and cursed, "Brother Yuan is an old driver. His daily speed must be 180. 180? Haha, who are you looking down on? It's too low. If you say less, you'll get 12 points deducted. Brother Yuan, don't sleep. Even if you don't teach us how to fall in love, you can still teach us how to drive. We are all still newbies." Li Yuan lay on the bed and replied casually, "I suggest you spend $200 to find a car that you like on the street and drive it. Although it is not new, you are not responsible for the old car. By the way, drive safely and be careful of the traffic police." Zhou Tianyu was the first to react and scolded with a smile, "Maid, Brother Yuan, you are no longer driving, but racing. The speed is too fast, I am a little dizzy." Suzuki-yang, who had always been invisible, suddenly interjected, "Actually, what Yuan said is not impossible. Otherwise, if a novice goes on the road and cannot find the keyhole, his work will be in vain. Try it with an old car. Test driving skills and learn driving experience can also lay the foundation for driving a new car." Suzuki-yang's sudden thunderous words shocked everyone. Lucia looked at Suzuki-yang as if he were a monster, and opened his mouth in shock. You, Suzuki-yang, you're such a guy, you just don't make a sound, and you become a blockbuster. Could it be that you are also an old driver who hides his secrets? Tell me the truth and be self-reliant." Do you really have experience in this field? Suzuki-young smiled awkwardly, touched his nose, and said, Brother Yun, what about you? Where are you and classmate Xia? Li Yun lay on the bed, rolled his eyes, and said irritably, Want to know? Guess for yourself. The next day, the military training officially began. Li Yun put on his camouflage uniform and got up at 6 o'clock in the morning for military training. The entire campus is densely occupied by camouflage uniforms. If it were photographed by Western media satellites, I don't know, I would think that there would be some large-scale military operation. The military training in this life is no different from before. It is the same hard work and boring. First, there is a conference and template-style training from leaders at all levels. Then, according to different teams, each goes back to each house to find each mother to start the formal training. It is still the same process of standing in a military posture, kicking forward, cross-country running, etc. It is well known as a process to sharpen the students' will and temper their bodies. Li Yun practiced listlessly. The hot weather and boring military posture made his already irritable mood reach the extreme. He often made mistakes in some training movements. In the blink of an eye, half a day passed in the intense and busy military training. During the break, Zhou Tianyu came to Li Yun, touched Li Yun's arm and handed him a bottle of mineral water. Li Yun, can I ask you a question? Li Yun took a sip of water and glanced at him. If you have anything to say, just say it. Li Yun, are you really planning to pursue Xia's Haijin? Li Yun spoke calmly, not wanting to answer this stupid question at all. So what if it is, and so what if it isn't? Zhou Tianyu didn't care about Li Yun's perfunctory attitude and said with a smile, Li Yun, no, brother Yun, since you already have Xia's Haijin, then I will go after Zhong Tingyu. Li Yun took a serious look at Zhou Tianyu, chuckled, and felt very speechless. Just chase him, what does it have to do with me? It's inexplicable. Zhou Tianyu touched his nose and explained with a slight embarrassment, weren't you and Zhong Tingyu old classmates before? The relationship is unclear. If my intervention ruins the relationship between you, wouldn't that be a sin and affect our brotherhood? Brother Yun, since you want to chase Xia's Haijin, then I will go after Zhong Tingyu. Brother Yun, don't be jealous. Li Yun thought to himself, you really think highly of yourself. Even without my presence, it would be impossible for you to chase Zhong Tingyu. Besides, Zhong Tingyu and I have nothing to do with each other. Li Yun didn't know much about Zhong Tingyu, but once in his past life, he heard Bai Wuxi mention that her family's situation seemed to be very complicated. If you want to chase her, then be brave and chase her. Love does not matter who comes first. Even if she and I are really childhood sweethearts and boyfriend and girlfriend, if you can break the corner, you are considered awesome. Zhou Tianyu looked at Li Yun and said seriously, Brother Yun, then I really take action. If I really catch him, don't fall out with me in the future. Seeing Zhou Tianyu's serious expression, Li Yun felt a bit sour in his heart. But he had absolutely no reason to reject Zhou Tianyu. You can't say, Zhong Tingyu is also the woman I like, please stay away from her. Li Yun replied non-committally, that depends on your ability. Zhou Tianyu said confidently, hey, no matter what, I was also the king of love in our high school. I have never seen what kind of girl. I will keep it for her to make you jealous and jealous. Li Yun chuckled and was too lazy to continue talking. His already bad mood became even worse. After using the toilet, Lucia also came over, looked at a few people, and said excitedly, brothers, I just passed by the square team at the Finance Academy, and I found another beautiful woman with fairy-like appearance. Brother He Yu and the two I know are equally good-looking and each has his or her own merits. Zhou Tianyu curled his lips, just brag, how can there be so many beauties in our school? Lucia sneered, what do you know? Ardaxia University is known as the university with the most beauties and the highest quality among all the universities in Shanghai. Zhou Tianyu didn't believe it at all. How can our Xiamen University be the highest? Do we have more beauties than the Shanghai University of Finance and Economics, the Shanghai Opera Academy, and the Academy of Fine Arts? I heard that those universities are full of high-quality beauties. Lu Jie showed a strange smile, implying a hint of shyness. This is what I saw in a post on a certain forum. An ID called Wikimedia has done analysis and statistics. Among all the universities in Shanghai, Ardaxia University does have a slight advantage. Top the list. Zhou Tianyu asked dubiously, the girls' phalanx from the School of Finance seems to be not far away from us, only about 200 meters away. When I take a break next time, I will go and see how tall the person you mentioned is. How beautiful can she be, comparable to the school Belgian. A girl from the Finance Academy. Li Yuan's heart moved, and he subconsciously thought of the person he deleted last night. After a while, the instructor blew the assembly horn and began the boring formation training again. The instructor of Li Yuan's formation is a soldier named Zhang Zheng, who is in his mid-20s. His skin is bronze, with sharp edges and corners, and he looks very powerful. Li Yuan is 1.85 centimeters tall in shoes. As a pace setter, he is a benchmark. Because he is in a bad mood and looks absent-minded, he is always prone to taking wrong steps during training. Zhang Zheng pointed at Li Yuan and shouted loudly, "What's your name? What's going on? Don't you know the front and back? This morning, this is the 6th time an error has occurred. Get out of the queue." Li Yuan frowned slightly, but said nothing and stood up obediently. Today was the first lesson of the military training for freshmen. As a veteran instructor who had participated in 3 military trainings for college students, Zhang Zheng was about to show off his authority to the students when he encountered a big guy like Li Yuan who showed up to his door. Zhang Zheng glanced at Li Yuan, who was half a head taller than him, and gave an iron-fisted order. "Li Yuan, you made 6 mistakes in a row. You can't tell the front from the back, the left from the right. You are such an idiot. I punish you to stand at attention for 30 minutes. Li Yuan frowned. He saw that this instructor seemed to be targeting him, or using him to establish his authority. Because, apart from him, he was not the only one who made mistakes among the 100 boys in the whole team. Although, he made more mistakes.